Geoffrey, welcome to San Juan Island's Museum of Art. It is such a pleasure to see you here and to see all this incredible work that you've brought for us. It's just magnificent. You have a few words to say?
I do.
So take it away.
Hello, everybody. As you know, I'm Geoffrey Pagen. I wrote down a few things that I've been thinking about, well, for years. I sort of edited it over the last few years and then just typed something up recently I'd like to read. First, I'd like to thank Peter Lane and Sherry Bell and the museum board for allowing me to exhibit in this amazing space. The museum is a very important place, and the artwork that it hosts, it's like, to me, a breath of fresh air, a wind that encompasses the space and the people that come into this space. It offers new perspectives on life in general and my life in particular. So it's been very much an honor to have this opportunity to put my work in a room of this scale. It's always been a dream of mine. Most of the gallery exhibitions I've had have been in rooms maybe half this size. So this has been incredible. I'd also like to say what an honor it is to show with Patty and George, two very talented, gifted artists, and that is fantastic for the museum and the community here on the island to bring in three ceramic artists that handle this material so differently. That's just been amazing. As a ceramist, for many years now, I've been interested in inserting new materials into my work, such as glazed fire bricks, felt, steel, glass, and wood, of course. Their identity presents really interesting things to me about mass and weight and simplicity. I think that glass and wood in particular are very appealing. There's something that we all resonate about wood. Our homes are built out of it. We walk on it, or we use it all the time. We eat out of it, bowls. It's an extraordinary material. Once these materials make it onto my A list, I call it, they're there. They're going to be there for the rest of my life. I'm getting old. I'm 71, but who knows how many more years I have in front of me. I know I have many behind me. But it's exciting for me to introduce new materials to my thinking and what I make. These in particular are steeped in notions of minimalism. They're very simple, but they have the addition of the glazed fire brick offers a painterly and minimal aspect. These are actually bricks that are used in furnaces and kilns and wood stoves, and they're available from the industry that makes them for those purposes, but ceramists use them to build their kilns to fire their work in. Well, I think potters and whatnot, they realize they spill glaze sometimes on the bricks and they go, oh my God, wait a minute, a brick is made out of clay, so why can't you use it? So it's really interesting to get the material we work in and use it in a different way. These are all pretty much standard 9-inch fire bricks. There's a couple other pieces around the corner using a 12-inch fire brick. As I was explaining, like most artists, I'm somewhat reluctant to talk about my work for a lot of reasons, but we'll do my best here. I think for me, the spectator is the central issue of my work, and especially in a space of this size. Honestly, I look at some of this work and I'm not sure how I got here. I mean, I was a potter. All of a sudden, this came along and I'm kind of a painter now. And it's still a mystery to me. In conclusion, I would say that I do go to my studio every day. I don't work every day. I don't make things every day. I think artists are notorious for avoiding their work sometimes. You know, we build tables, we sort screws, and we work. I like planning things. I could spend a lifetime planning. I find that important part of the process. And you know, at the bottom of my heart, I like making things. My work isn't political. It's not about climate change. It's not about the LBG community. It's not. I'm just a guy that is inspired by nature, and I think nature is an incredible organizer. And as when you incorporate what nature gives you in your own design, it's incredible how nature organizes space and creates different spatial arrangements. So I've been an alpine climber for many years, and I enjoy being outside, and that influences my work. Most recently, inclusion of this show is my work of enamel on steel, and those 4 panels are all about water and how important water is to our life, and also water as a threat. Water comes in many forms: ice, hail, snow, floods. It's liquid. The similarity, the correlation to me and my attraction to water is similar to glass. Glass is a super cooled liquid. Glazes are a cooled liquid, and the enamel, those 4 panels, again, they're all about water in different forms. The first 2 are frozen water that I took pictures on an alpine hike on Mount Rainier in the middle of the winter. It was 12 degrees outside, and I'd been hiking for 4 hours to this frozen lake, and it's just this visual phenomena, especially the second one where you see natural grasses and reeds that are suspended and frozen. It was a creek that was about 20, 30 inches deep, and it was solid ice, and everything was like arrested in time. And I just thought, this is amazing. Someday that's going to melt and move again, and rot, growth, it's regrowth. So again, at the bottom of my heart, I like making things. I think at the end of the day, we're all just trying to figure out who we are, and you know, looking at the impulses of why we make what we make, and it's really still a mystery to me. So, thank you.
Just a few short
Sure.
answered questions. How about that?
Absolutely.
from your
I'm up for that.
Good, good. So, having looked at all the materials that you're using, especially, of course, the clay pieces, and the way that you've treated the surfaces, it's, to me, quite a broad range of, I guess, artist experience, maybe I could call it that, I don't know. But so I'm looking at this wall here, and I'm seeing all of these different images. There are elements to each one that connects one to the other. Can you speak just a little bit about connecting these pieces together, and how, I mean, you walk in here and you just put them up, or do you change the...
No, those are good questions. The evolution of an installation like this it's actually really simple. They kind of, when they come out of the crate or I unwrap them, the brackets are on the wall, and I just put them up random. There's no order. Okay. And I actually keep the space far enough between them that if something's really annoying me about one next to this one, then I could just move it. So they're all obviously the same shape. And part of the rationale behind doing these grids is like they're so disparate, they're so opposite and different from each other, but they're aligned by their uniform shape. and they create a story, and that narrative is very compelling, where as a viewer, again, the viewer is the most important thing to me, because they identify, their experience is incredible, and that's really appealing to an artist. So I'm fascinated by when you're looking at one, you have all this visual activity buzzing of the piece next to you as you're looking at it, and that could be either annoying or interesting, and that's one of the compelling. And these are pieces that I've done over many years, and some of them were diptychs, some of them were 2 or 3 piece, and then maybe they didn't sell, or I didn't like them, and I put them on a shelf and put it away. And then I thought, these grids are really interesting. They create, again, this narrative that I've never explored. And so that's kind of the background of, and it's fascinating because there's such a variety, as you say, of textures, colors, geometry, and composition. And they span many years, so some of them are really current, and some of them aren't.
Okay.
Hope that answers the question.
It does, very, very well. And so when I'm giving tours, people often ask about the materials used. And so can you speak just a little bit about your materials here? I realize it's clay.
Yes.
What kind of clay, and what type of clay, and So
I, just to back up, something that might be relevant to that is I came from a tradition of potters. Not my family, but my original teachers in high school and college were real potters. And that's why I said, this is great. I like doing this. And I realized, I'm sitting down too much, and my teapot spouts drooled, and I wasn't a really good potter. And one of my teachers said, your printmaking is amazing. You're kind of a visual painter / printmaker. Why don't you think about this surface as an empty canvas? And I said, well, I can't do that on a bowl and a cup. He goes, well, in those days, there were 2 camps of ceramics. You were a potter or you were a hand builder. And hand builders thought potters were really weird because they just made these round things all the time and they were functional. Potters thought hand builders were really strange because they worked standing up and everything was a slab or a piece of, you can't drink out of it. Then I gravitated to being a hand builder. So I started out doing stoneware, high fire ceramics. Then I moved into raku. This is raku fired, which is an old primitive Japanese, which is fascinating. I did that for 20 years and realized the loss was so high because of what I was making and trying to fire them. I lost 50% of my work. Okay, it's like banging your head against the wall. This does not work, So then I moved into kind of low fire, mid-range, and color just started taking over. So I've moved into many areas of fired ceramic, exploring different techniques and introducing color. I mean, the last thing I would say, if it's okay, is as a beginning ceramic student, I had no idea that your work was going to shrink. I told my, what do you mean? The water molecules evaporate, the clay molecules, you're going to like 10%. What do you mean 10%? That's a lot. It's like throwing a wool sweater in the dryer, right? It's like, you don't do that. I said, what do you mean it moves? And he goes, yeah, you'll see. And that was this like elasticity kind of thing that was really interesting and contributing to the complexity of the identity of clay. That, wow, it cracks. Okay, what else does it do? It shrinks. Whereas I'm interested now in these fire bricks, they're not going to shrink. Wood, it's not going to shrink. So it's kind of been an eye opener. The other thing, which is not disturbing, but in ceramics, it's a real, as you know, being a former ceramist, it's a crapshoot. You put your glaze on, you fire. I mean, you still cross your fingers after 50 years. When you open your kiln up, you really don't know.
That sigh of relief, maybe?
Yeah, you don't know. It's like, oh, damn, or excuse my language, or shoot. it doesn't get any easier. You know, I'm not one of those ceramists that does that refires their work. So it's a crapshoot. You got one shot. It's not like a painting. You know, it's not like artists, art collectors, curators, critics used to ask Jackson Pollock or Warhol, hey, when's your painting done? Well, you know, it's true. When is it ever done? You could just come back and change the color. And Warhol had a great answer. He said, when the check clears.
I like that one.
Yeah, I like that too. It's kind of like, but ceramics, it's like, you got one chance. And, you know, you can maybe alter it a little, but you got to start over and do something else. But anyway, I'm sorry, a long answer.
No, it's wonderful. Okay, final question, if you will. And it is, people are coming in here. What do you hope the viewers will take away with them?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a tough one to answer. Curiosity. Hopefully it'll it'll make them think about their own relationship to their emotional reaction and their visual experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you know, the hardest question that one artist will always laugh at when someone says, well, what is it? What is it doing? What's your work going to be? It's not going to change. It's static right now. Mm-hmm. Or what's it doing? You know, if you're a potter, it kind of makes sense. You're going to drink out of it. Right. But, you know, this work is really about painting. Mm-hmm. And so I hope that the viewer has a visceral experience emotionally, intellectually, that they see something. It helps them see something they've never seen before. Yeah. And that's an ideal. Yeah,
great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So much. Yeah,
Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Appreciate it.